Annyeonghaseyo Yorobun. This is our first lesson of speaking Korean language in Learn Korean. At first, it might be difficult to pronounce words in Korean, but after some practice, I know that it will get easier. Do you wonder if there is a Korean word counterpart for hello or hi? Well, the most common way of saying this expression in Korea is Annyeonghaseyo. Their meaning is not the same, but the way they are being expressed is somehow the same. So, when you greet someone and you say Annyeonghaseyo, their reply will also be Annyeonghaseyo. Let us now define what is the real meaning of Annyeonghaseyo. Annyeong means well-being, peace, or help, while haseyo means you do you, or please do. Annyeonghaseyo is the most common way of greeting someone in Korean. This greeting is in 존댓말, or their polite or formal language. When someone greets you with Annyeonghaseyo, you can simply greet the person back with Annyeonghaseyo as well. So, there is no literal counterpart for the word hello and hi when it comes to Hangul or the Korean language. When you write this greeting, you can write it as Annyeonghaseyo as a statement or Annyeonghaseyo as a question form. Either way, it is perfectly acceptable. Annyeonghaseyo was originally a question asking you, are you doing well? Are you at peace? Or are you living well? But since it is a very common expression, people began to not expect any special answers in reply. For example, when you ask a friend of yours, what's up? Do you really expect an honest answer about what is going on? In this case, you might hear, what's up in reply. Annyeonghaseyo is exactly just like that. In Korean, there are a few levels of politeness which are commonly called honorifics in English. If you are a beginner learner, it might seem intimidating at first to learn of the honorifics, but it is important to know and utilize them. It gets much easier as you learn and practice more, so do not worry. You can divide Korean honorifics or their level of politeness into two categories that are quite easy to distinguish from each other and learn how to use. One category is called 존댓말, which means polite or formal language, and the other is 반말, which means casual, intimate, or informal language. In Korean, if you hear sentences that ends in particle yo or nida, they are most likely in 존댓말 or the polite or formal language. It is better to learn 존댓말 first because if you speak 존댓말 in a situation when you can use 반말 or the intimate or the informal language in Korea, you are not going to be in too much trouble. However, if you use 반말 when you are supposed to use 존댓말, you might get into trouble. So it is better to learn 존댓말 first. Let us now move on to our second word, which is thank you. Its Korean counterpart is 감사합니다. Gamsa means appreciation, thankfulness, or gratitude, while hamnida means I do or I am doing in 존댓말 or in polite or formal language. 감사합니다 is the most common way to politely say thank you. Together, when combined, the two means thank you. You can use 감사합니다 whenever you find yourself in a situation where you want to say thank you. In English, when you say thank you, the expression has the word you in it. In Korean, however, people just say 감사합니다, but the word does not have an object you in it. You do not have to say you in Korean because it is easy to guess to whom you are offering thanks. As you learn more Korean expressions, you will see that there are many that need not include the object within the sentence. Alright, next is the word goodbye. In Korean, when you say goodbye in formal or polite Korean, mal, there are two types of expressions. And both of these expressions have the word annyeong in them. Do you still remember the meaning of annyeong? If you can still remember, it means peace, well-being, or health. In learning the word goodbye in Korean, they have two types of expressions. One is when you are the one who is leaving. The other is when you are the one who is staying and you are seeing the people or the person leaving. For you to better understand, let me discuss their literal meaning. Annyeong higaseyo means stay in peace, while annyeong higaseyo means go in peace. If you are leaving and the other person is staying or the other people are staying, you can say annyeong higaseyo since it means stay in peace. While if you are staying and the other person is leaving or the other people are leaving, you can say annyeong higaseyo, which means go in peace. If two or more people meet and all of them are leaving and going in separate directions, they can all say annyeong higaseyo to each other since they are all leaving. When Korean people say annyeonghaseyo, annyeong higaseyo, or annyeong higaseyo, they do not always pronounce every single letter clearly. They do not pronounce each syllable correctly. So often at times, what you would hear clearly is just the ending part, seyo. Just like, annyeongseyo, 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 just like that. Alright, and that's the end of our Korean speaking lesson number 1. I hope you learned something from Learn Korean. Let's study again next time. 감사합니다. 안녕히 계세요.